I told him, I was like, dude, I don't think I would take that shot.
Did I tell you what Bomar said on the truck on the way home? He goes, he's like, come on, man, should have taken that shot. He goes, arrows in the quiver, do not deliver. The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Predator Camo.
Man, this one feels good, right? I know people have been looking at this picture over your shoulder for a while now. I think that was 2018, but we just, over the last, how many years, keep coming back to Predator Camo because it's been so damn good for us.
No doubt. I think we bought our first set off of Jen at the Archer Trade Show almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And Jen's still with the company, and the patterns have only improved since then. They actually were recently acquired within the past couple of years. We've had a chance this past year to go and meet with new ownership, talk about redesigning a lot of the old lines, plans for new patterns, all of the above. So really excited about what's to come, not only this coming year, but in years to come. There's a lot of good stuff coming from Predator.
Yeah, and I mean, for us, it's always been going back to that breakup pattern, right? That's the historic look, whether you're talking about the spring greens or brown deceptions or fall grays.
Yep.
I mean, that breakup is really what's been so powerful for us in a tree stand. And right now, they're letting anyone use the code HUNTR on the Predator Camo website and get 20% off any of the lines, including all the new stuff that dropped here in July.
Be the Predator.
And we're back.
Ew.
HUNTR Podcast, episode 290.
290, buddy.
10 away from the big 300.
Getting there.
Little by little.
We are getting there. So before we get started here, I'll thank everybody for listening and tuning in, whether on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast. Those are the three main platforms that we drop these episodes on. We do that every Tuesday and Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time for the duration of the season. Probably around January, we'll go back to one. And Hunt Companion is in our, or Farm Companion, I should say, is in our somewhat distant future still.
Yeah, I think
at this point.
we said February.
Yeah, we're still in it now, as they say. So we're not out of it yet.
As we say.
Yeah. That's why it's funny. Yeah. So we'll be out of it at some point. But for right now, we're still in it.
Still in it.
So if you've written us on Instagram DM or the website, those are the two we check the most frequently. Again, to the emailers, I know I've got a lot of started emails there to get back to. Instagram, we've been pretty decent, especially with, we've killed some bucks here recently, and a lot of, so I've been trying to respond to those and appreciate you guys. We have some HUNTR merch on the website. A lot of you guys have bought that stuff already, and we appreciate your continued support, as does Nick. And you can use code HUNTR. Yeah, to wrap that up with on any of our partners' websites for a discount in some way, shape, or form. And other than that, here we go. It is Thanksgiving week. We're filming this. Yeah, man, it's cool. It's like there's a kind of I do like the there's just a lot. You know what I mean? To come back from after November, and it's like it's all of the above. It's like, man, just for me, being out of the gym for whatever I haven't lifted in November, so three weeks to a month. A lot of success that came with that. So excitement, highs, lows, adrenaline dump kind of thing, and but also now coming back to some work that needs done, but also like we're on the cusp of like a holiday. Yeah. So a lot. It's just kind of a lot right now. Well, yeah, dude. I mean, you weren't here in November. Yeah. Not much. Well, you know what though? I was only really, I should figure it out at some point. I mean, Kansas, we racked them up because that was 5 days, 5 full days. Yeah. Second trip in Illinois was on the 4th day I killed, so 4 days. It came back, whatever. There's travel on either end maybe, but. And then the first trip we did was 5 days, 5 full days. Yeah, so essentially 15 days of hunting, and today is the 25th. Yeah. So in a way, it was nicely timed. I was never gone for more than like 5 days, 5 or 6 days. So I always had 2 or 3 at least in between. Which no doubt you're right. It's a lot of hunting, but I wasn't gone for 3 weeks consecutively. Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, they were consecutive, but there was some time in between. Yeah, a couple, 2-3 days in between usually. A lot of hunting. Yeah. A lot of hunting. A lot of all-day sits, more than I probably have ever done. Apparently, that's what it takes in November to kill them. A lot of success, too, So, I mean, yeah, they're correlated, obviously, in some way. Yeah, it's boy, yeah, I don't know the November rut, if anything, this year. And I didn't spend as much time, but still a bunch in the woods. We did. The first and last trip was we were together. The middle one was the only one you missed. Yep. Yeah, and I just
it was not good for me. Like, I didn't see much at all.
Well, that's what. Just right before we jumped on here, my comment was like, man, it's crazy how fine the line is between success on some of these deer and just like in a shitty season, frankly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I think if we rewind clear back to like that first weekend, which was like the last part of October, first part of November, I mean, they were just, all of the shooters were locked down.
Yeah.
Like just severe lockdown.
Yep.
And it's crazy because it's like, man, you look forward so much to that like end of October, November period, but like that's the worst time frame that I've ever experienced. Like, I mean, I didn't see shit.
I remember it was really slow, and I don't know, like
2-year-olds mainly, and I think a 3-year-old maybe.
Yeah. Well, and so we were in Illinois for that, and so like it seemed a year at a time is kind of the pace at which we're figuring that farm out. And we keep, there's like, you have a baseline of our end of October, like pre-rut kind of thing. But year after year now, I think we've hunted that time frame, for at least 2 of the 3 years. I can't remember last year exactly, but like. Yeah,
last year's kind of a blur on that farm. I don't know. Well, it's because we had Iowa. Everything got, that's right. We put everything off.
That's right.
Because of Iowa last year. That's why.
That's right. Our first trip to the Midwest was November 4th.
For Iowa.
We started hunting on the 5th. And so, we didn't make it to Illinois before. But other than, I mean, we have these 2 occurrences. You killed a buck on Halloween night, the first year on that farm.
30th.
The 30th. Okay, so there you go.
Yep.
And then I killed Kamikaze on the 1st. And, I mean, I don't know. I remember them feeling pretty different. Granted, I didn't see any shooters the first year during that week. You rattled that thing out of the timber. Kind of, that was like a pre-rut activity. You know what I mean? We saw.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I saw 7 or 8 bucks.
You did?
Night.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Just always kept coming out of that timber, like.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, nothing like big. But, that 5-year-old that I killed was the last one.
I don't know if we've ever seen that many bucks on a hunt there since.
No, and like no, like all pre-rut activity.
Yeah. So, and contrast that to, like you said, we didn't make it out there last year during that time frame. This year, they were definitely locked down.
Yeah.
What I don't know why we determined that. I think because some of them deer they were fairly consistent in mid-October. You know what I mean? The 10 point, the 11 point. Yeah, several of those deer, Kamikaze, and then they just the camera sightings
just gone.
Slowed right down, and we weren't seeing really much at all.
And I assume, we started putting the puzzle pieces together around these low deer population areas, which, believe it or not, that Illinois farm is fairly low in deer population. Not like super, like maybe Kansas or even like we talk about my Kentucky place, but lower than people would think. And I think early in that, you probably have a Kamikaze or, that 11 point locked down. And I bet you have satellite deer.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's just not other does just coming into estrus left and right, like you would in a higher population area.
Yeah.
And so when you, like some of those sits, like, didn't see a buck.
Well, I mean, just not we have to go through every one here, but like the first sit, which would have been like the 28th.
Yep.
Or 29th, 20th or 29th. I saw that 3-year-old on the clover plot. I was hunting at 11 point. And I saw that 3-year-old at last light. And and 2 other does, I think is what I saw. What did you see the first night? Where'd you go?
I saw that 3-year-old 9 point. I was on the new 80.
That's right.
That 9 point with the kicker, that tall one.
Yeah. So started off like, okay, we're like, yeah. And we had the excitement of we had picked up the new farm that day, and I don't remember, like I said, we don't have to go through every one, but second, it did start to just like, that was a little bit of flurry of activity in the beginning there, and then it kind of dried right up.
Yeah, then I don't think I saw a deer over 2 the rest of the trip.
And then, so November 1st, so was that the 4th day?
Yep.
I killed Kamikaze?
Yeah, because we were leaving on the 3rd, regardless.
The 3rd is when we left. Yeah. Yeah, and so it was a long trip. It was a 5 or 6 day trip, 5-day trip. And and Kamikaze was locked down too. I mean, that was like
a recent lockdown, probably. Like he picked her up because we had him on camera by himself, I think, that morning.
Yeah.
And then he picked her up, and they were like, okay, let's
back.
take this back to the bedroom type of thing.
They were coming back. That's what it was.
And that's how you kill them at that time frame. Like in a lockdown. You either kill them in between does, or you kill them when they pick one up and she's dragging them through. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You do wonder if like she's leading that, or there's a mutual understanding of where they're going, or he's pushing her. I don't really know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, a lot of times you see them pushing the doe, like, you know, steering them to where they want it to go. But at that, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, it was not super brief, but I mean, I didn't see him really pushing her. He would just stand and wait for her to move.
Yep.
And
then
she
follow.
And he'd follow.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so November 1st. I mean, it's good that we talk about, and we can go back and listen to these at some point, be like, what were we seeing? But we're trying to learn that farm year over year, and like it really, I don't know. It's really hard to put a pin on to say like November 12th or what, you know, whatever, which I do think happens to be when I killed November 12th, I think it was.
This is 12th that you killed.
It's the 12th.
And the 9th.
We haven't in the past 2 years had as distinct of like a show up as we did that first year, and it was like the 25th through the 1st.
When we hunted that first year?
That first year. Is that when all those bucks kind of showed up?
Even a little earlier, like 20th.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like one after the next. It was like in the matter of...
Boom, boom, boom. All on the fence gap. Like we're like, we get a picture of every deer in the area on this scrape.
Yeah. Like in a matter of 7 days.
We've changed the farm. Like we talk about this
for sure
a lot in a positive light. Like, man, look how much we're... And you know, there are definitely times you change the farm and you do negatively affect some things. Like fence gap is one of those ones where like even this year, the amount of scrape attention that got is substantially lower.
Yeah.
You know, and is it because we've got big food on both sides? Like now it's like more of they're just pulling around it versus like that was just a funnel. Like there was no real reason for them to be up there besides like they were just moving through there.
I don't know
either. But you start to put those things together. And
in fairness, not all of those deer that were showing up were shooters, if any of them, if I remember.
No, the big 8 showed up, the one that we're waiting for on the 80.
That was a 4-year-old at the time.
No, he was 5, I think.
No, because we think he's 6 this year. Yeah, he'd.
I thought he was 6 last year.
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was 4 that first year.
Interesting.
That's what I feel.
The high brow tine deer was probably 3 that year.
High brow tine deer.
Yeah, that one that's like he was staggered. He was like a big 3-year-old that year, and then Bill got him on the 80 in December last year as a 4-year-old.
Oh yeah. That deer's kind of a mystery. We don't know much about him.
Mm-mm.
But yeah. So I mean, I would say we've got progressively more shooters. I think. More better scoring shooters. You know what I mean? Like that first year, we did have a bunch of those junkers for whatever reason.
4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, and we killed 3 of them, and then the other 2 like just seemed to.
They're like
at least one disappeared.
We don't want to be around here.
I think
anymore.
the 9 we kind of called one of them, but he's now the 10, and he's a decent deer, 6-year-old deer this year. I think. So, and oddly enough, like dude, he cored on us. Like if I felt like there was one deer that was anchored on us, it was him, and he's just not on us that much this year.
No, he was earlier in the season.
In October.
And then, frankly, he kind of shifted. We saw him more on our new 80. And then now it's like gone.
Don't know where he's at.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, as you kind of look at the progression, because, you know, we get hundreds of messages about, like, when I should take off or what week should I take off. And it's like, dude, I don't know if there's a good answer for that anymore. Like, not saying that there aren't some weeks that are better than others, but it's purely related to where you're at, what the weather conditions are, and frankly...
And the specific deer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, so I could tell you in the Midwest, it's like, you know, Winky would always say, whatever, November 7th. Like, you got to be in the woods November 7th. Yeah, in most cases, I would agree with that. We hunted November 7th on our Illinois farm last year. We didn't see shit. That was when we came off of Iowa, and we went there, and it was like dead until I think it was the 9th or 10th you saw Crazy Horse.
9th or 10th.
Mm-hmm. So it was like,
interesting.
You know, 2 or 3 of the days that we, you know, by date should be the best. We didn't see. I don't think we saw a deer over 2.
Boy, yeah, you'd love to have it all on a clean stat sheet or whatever to know exactly. Oh, look at this flurry here. Like
a lot of people do it. I'm not that organized.
I know. Well, we could do it. I mean, I've got a gallery. I film almost every deer that we see from the stand and stuff.
Yep.
And, I mean, I killed the first year on the 9th.
Yep.
And this year on
12th.
On the
1st and 12th.
And 12th. So we were like always speculating about those days. And I mean, dude, as I was hunting the 12th, I hunted the 3 or 4 days leading up to it. So 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, I guess, maybe. Mm-hmm. And I did see, dude, it's hard in the moment. Like on one hand, it can feel like I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah.
But also, if I look back at my recordings, I'm like, I saw several nice 3-year-olds and a 4-year-old, daylighting and stuff. And so, in hindsight, it was like I had a pretty good hunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think so.
I never once had, like, I think we all dream of the November 9th. Like when I killed that deer on November 9th, 2 years ago, it was like a brawl. It was a rut brawl.
Yeah, I mean, there were 2 or 3 mature bucks just dogging her.
That's like the dream rut hunt, that
happens so short. Like it happens every year.
Well, not to everybody. I mean,
I
didn't have.
It's
I don't think
happening out there every year.
It happens.
What I should say.
Yeah.
It's just, are you in the right place at the right time to see it and experience it?
Yeah.
That happens very infrequently.
Yeah, for sure. Very infrequently. Even over the course of like a hunting career, like a lifetime, it's like I don't know how many of those, in terms of like having mature bucks do that. Like everybody sees 2 and 3-year-olds running does around and stuff, but it just didn't happen a lot.
Well, dude, I said it when we were in Kansas, and it was crazy when I, like, in hindsight, looking at it, is that second to last day on Thursday, that was the first chase I saw all year. Mm. And it was a 4-point on a doe, like hounding her.
Wow.
I've not seen a single chase. I've not seen, I mean, maybe you count Carter's buck bumping a doe one time, but he didn't do any. Like, he just kind of bumped her around and was like, man, okay, whatever. Like, nothing. No 2-year-olds chasing, no 3-year-olds chasing, no vocalizations. That's the only vocalizations I've heard in the woods all year. It's crazy. Like, to rewind compared to, like, obviously we sat 5 or 6 days around that end of October, early November. Like, you think like that's a vocalization time period. Nothing. Yeah.
I mean, dude, they come and go. And like, I think we have in our minds like an expectation for like, or a fantasy of like what the season will be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a good way. It's like, man, I'm just dreaming about, getting here and stuff. And then the reality is like, it's tough. It's like, you're just like, you're not going to be in them every day. Dude, I mean, I didn't hunt Ohio in the month of November, which is fine. Like, it's just happening that way now. Where I think for the past 2 years, I haven't really, because we've had Illinois tags or Iowa tags or Kansas tags, and so yeah, you make the time count out there, and this is now I'm in like best case scenario, because it's like you go and be successful at all those, and now you come back home and you have all the time in the world and all the food.
Yeah, which is critical.
So it's like great. I mean, it's cool that can work out, I guess. But I didn't either. Like in October, before we left, like I didn't, other than the opening weekend when we shot Temptation and GR8, it slowed right down. I mean, we had the latter half of October in Ohio was a grind.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we there definitely were some really good weather fronts in November, reflecting back in terms of the one that we hit at the end of October, early November, the one you hit when you killed the 11. We missed this one in Kansas, really.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
But there definitely were some, and are some. Like, I mean, even looking at this next week coming up, like tomorrow, there's a big front coming through, drops, Thursday, Friday, Saturday look really good. Bluebird skies, cold weather, high pressure.
Well, dude, I think like there's a lesson in like, so you over the course of the past couple of weeks have like said multiple times that like you just prefer October. Like you're like,
I'm an October.
I'm a strategy guy. I prefer, October. And like the problem is, if October comes and goes, which it does so often, you don't get the weather fronts, or like the deer hasn't shown up yet, on certain farms. It's like, you can run out of time pretty quick on that. And the reality of November is like it's a spot game. You know, it's right time, right place, ass in seat.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. Well, and that's my problem. That's probably why I'm in October is like I don't have time in November. Like, but just between kids and work and like I was like even this year, like, and I mean it just didn't work, but like that early November trip and then Kansas and then in between taking the kids to Universal, it's like, dude, my November, I told you yesterday when I was driving back from Ohio, I'm like, I'm spent.
Yeah, well, it was as full as mine. Like you did the first trip and the third trip with me, and then you had Universal in between. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, other than that middle trip there, which yielded $1, you know, you had the same opportunities. And so like, that's what we can't control is like that. There's no reason that I killed Kamikaze and you didn't, other than I was in that spot.
Yeah,
for whatever reason. Like that's just how that happened.
It was all spot based for sure.
Yeah,
yeah, and I mean they were locked down and she pulled them through. Yeah,
and all of them were frankly like. Kamikaze and the 11 were both not the first time I had set the stand. Kamikaze, I hung it the night before and hunted it that night, killed him next morning. And then the 11, I'd sat that for 2 full days.
Yep.
And then moved somewhere on the 3rd day and came back to it on the 4th day and killed him, I think, the first time he came out of that little thicket.
Like very possible.
We learned something about that. Frankly, on all these hunts, you learn something. And then it just so happens that this Kansas deer, granted, it was a hang and bang. It was my first time in there. But it still was the spot. I just wasn't,
sure.
I hadn't figured it out yet. And I might not have been able to get in there with the conditions. Like, you know, just.
Yeah.
I tried to recreate that for somebody, this Kansas one. I was like, you know, hey, it's not that hard. You just need, you just need it to be November 21st, and you need rain conditions, and you need like exactly this scenario. You need these does to blow. You need to rip on a grunt roar at 11:45. Well, and honestly,
I mean, it wasn't supposed to be, right? That's not what the weather said, but like you caught a 2-hour window of like not rain.
Yep.
And then whatever 40 minutes after you killed this thing, like the rain started again, and it didn't stop. Like the rest of the day.
Yeah. And how do you recreate that?
That suppressed all the deer movement. They were just like, fuck it. No, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's 100% a right place. November's a right place, right time. There is some of that in October for sure. And even in the late season, but it's strategic because they're just not patternable that well in November. Like there is to a point, like the 11, it's like, okay, once we learned what he was doing, it's like, he's in there.
See, everybody says that. Everybody for the most part, but like, maybe it's not in the same sense as they would be in October, but like I do feel like they're fairly patternable in November. At least the way I'm looking at it. Like
patternable based on what?
Just I don't know. Like they're there to start with. Like on a lot of farms they're just not. I mean, dude, there's like honestly that one that I killed in Kansas, not this one, the 8-point at Roberts, was the first time that I like that really stands out to me. That I'm like, that deer was like,
he just lived there,
super consistent. He just lived there. He just walked this tram rail every day. It was like, do you remember what day it was when I killed him? November.
It's the last day. I know that.
Okay, so it must have been like the 17th
or 18th, something like that, probably.
Yeah, and this thing had been just super consistent.
He was there all the time.
He was there like all the time. And, I feel like dude, the Spaniard, I did the same thing. November 10th.
Yep.
Consistent, walking up that ridge. They just settle into kind of like a cruising zone or like a thing that they do with does. And it's not like they're, crushing scrapes or coming to a certain food source, but they're patternable like in a rut sense.
Yeah.
Dude, Kamikaze, that was kind of a pattern. I mean, loose.
It was spot.
It was foreseeable.
Yeah, I mean,
it was foreseeable. Dude, I told you the night before. I was like, because here's what he did.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the difference between farm country and big country, though. Like, you can foresee a Kamikaze or an 11 doing the thing because of, hey, he's probably here, and knowing his movement, it's like he's got to come through here almost. Like, if he leaves this brush pile, this 5-acre brush pile, he's I'm going to see him. He's going to come by.
Yeah.
Where in some of the other big stuff, like even where this guy was, I don't know. Like they just could be anywhere.
Well, they can always be anywhere. Like that, and that's what's tough about November. It's like if you aren't on them, you're
out of them.
Out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was a lot of what we experienced in Kansas for most of us. You sat days at a time and you were like, you weren't in them. And if you weren't in them, you didn't see shit.
Well, in Kansas, this past trip, like what an obscure event. Like just the way that it went was honestly confusing in hindsight.
Very much so.
Like we've never seen so few deer, but had the mature buck encounters that we ended up having.
Sure.
It was like how did those offset each other? It's
it was like if you saw the deer, there's a good chance, there's 50-50 chance that it's the buck you're after.
What do you think? Like combined total between 5 guys, a week of all day sits. I think one day we pulled out for a few hours. I would guess we saw
under 25.
I mean, I would say 25. Somewhere around there. You know what I mean? Because the days add up. You know, it's like, I don't know. 25, maybe 30 on a very high end. Maybe. But we had 3 mature buck encounters within 20 yards.
Yeah.
Despite that, you know, which is frankly pretty high odds, like from a ratio standpoint.
10% of the deer we saw were mature bucks.
That were inside of 20 yards.
At least.
So that's confusing. That's odd.
Honestly, more than that, because your dad saw that like goofy 8-year-old.
That's fair.
So, yeah.
4.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of crazy. I've just never, that's never happened to me before.
Well, and I think that is some of these, low density areas. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them, if you're seeing deer, like, first of all, you got to know there's a mature buck there, right? Like I'm still not saying that you got to have everything on camera, but it's like, you can't just wish upon a star that there's a big buck in this 100-acre block.
Right. Maybe
in Iowa. In some places, Kansas.
Well, to do it consistently. I mean, you can go out there and get lucky, and maybe there's one out there you don't know about.
For sure. But most, you need to know that they're, to the point of, like you saying, like, he's patternable because he's in the area. Gotta know he's there. In any low deer density area, even Kentucky where I'm at, I'm like, if I know there's 3 mature bucks on 150 acres, odds are if I see a deer, I'd say there's a 25% chance that it's one of those mature bucks because there's so few deer there. Versus like where you're at your Ohio farm, it's like, I don't know, 2% chance because you're going to see 15 does and 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds and whatever.
Yeah.
Not saying you won't see him, but you're also going to see a shitload of other deer in the mix.
Right.
And in some cases that makes it harder because you just have more eyeballs. You got to get, through past more noses.
In a lot of ways it makes it harder.
Yeah. So it's we kind of had that conversation after coming from Antler Creek with Rogers. Like a lot of people have said, hey, I'm booked with him or I'm thinking about booking with him. Like, what would you recap? And it's like, I'm kind of used to it, but it would still be nice. It's like, you're not going to see many deer. But per what we just said,
odds are if you go at the same time that we went and have the same conditions, we saw very few deer.
But chances of seeing something like this are, if you do see deer, pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and also, my entire last sit was a polar opposite of the entire week preluding it. Like, I mean, dude, I saw more deer in the last sit by far
whole week
than I'd seen any other sit. I mean, I don't know about the whole week combined, but
pretty close.
in that short period of time, I sat for, I don't know,
2 hours,
hour and a half, 2 hours, and I saw, including the ones that I bumped there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I saw like 9 or 10 deer.
I bet it was close.
That's more than double than I saw any prior sit.
Yeah.
And I think some of that was maybe condition based, but a lot of it was spot based.
Spot based. Yeah. Again, if you weren't in them, you didn't see them. If you're in them, you saw them. That was Thursday. I don't remember what I ended up seeing. I mean, some of them are the same deer, but I had 10 or 12 deer sightings on Thursday all day, including that one mature buck. And I saw deer all day.
I do think, and I can't prove it because I only saw him the one time. I do think that this deer would have been somewhat patternable in that spot.
Yeah.
I think on northeast winds, I think that was his core area, kind of, at least a part of it. I think you could have killed him there on other days. HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by DeerGrow.
Man, hard to believe, but DeerGrow has been the sponsor that's been there since the beginning of the HUNTR Podcast. Back in 2021, I think that they were the only partner that we had, but it's such a cornerstone brand and set of products for our food plot strategy throughout the year.
No doubt. And it seems like we used to have an off season, but not so much anymore. It's like when the hunting season ends, it really rolls right into food plot season, habitat projects, all of the above. And the Plot Start and Plot Boost have been there since the very beginning. That's a cornerstone for all of our plots. The Plot Start goes on at the beginning, Plot Boost goes on midway through. And since they came out with all of the fertilizers, that gets mixed in with the Plot Boost application as well. And I can't believe the results that we've been getting out of that.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like I said, it's all the work now that really produces the results in the fall. So right now, anyone listening to HUNTR Podcast can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for 15% off any of the products at DeerGrow.com.
Better food plots, bigger deer.
That's the other thing, and you know, not saying like I've had a ton of November success in the past. We had an extraordinary amount of easterly winds in November.
A ton.
Insane amount.
Almost every day.
Yeah. And you know, when you think about most areas, the predominant wind being southwest or west, whatever, it's like, you know, that's what those deer rely on in their movement patterns. How they move, how they slink in, how they slink out is, you know, wind favorable with the predominant wind. When it starts throwing those winds that are not common, you know, it makes it difficult for their movement too. Not just in like how they move, but like I think a lot of like when they move. I just think that if they're just, you know, if they're uncertain about moving through a specific area with a wind that's not common, I don't know if they move. I think they probably just hunker down. They're like, I'll just wait till cover darkness or right at first light or whatever it is to make that move and just feel safer because there's less there to threaten them. And it was just, I can't remember a November with more east winds.
Yeah. Do you think so? Do you think that they are constantly aware of like, or they get uncomfortable with a wind that's like, if it's not in their favor?
I think yes. And I think from an observation standpoint, less deer sightings also just like, man, some of the deer I saw were just, they were always on alert. You know, the bucks maybe not so much. They were kind of just dulled out a little bit. But like even some of the does I saw, I'm like there's no pressure on this farm. Like even in our Illinois farm, like that one in the northeast corner I sat, first does that came through, I mean, she was just freaking, before she even would have got to our scent, she was just freaking on high alert. I'm like, what the hell is she doing? Like, or even in Kansas, like I was in a place where I'm sure there hasn't been a person in a while. And like the first doe that came through, I saw her at 70 yards and she was just, you know, looked like she was on public land, pressured. And I feel like they're probably just, because they're having to enter or approach some of their bedding areas or leave their bedding areas if they want wind favorable in a way that is not familiar to them.
Well, just, I mean, let's reflect on these three most recent ones here. This deer, I'll go like in reverse order. This deer came in like with a rear quartering wind, and I grunted him in. So he came looking. I'm sure he...
And it was more open where you were from where he came from.
I would say it's about the same.
Okay.
Yeah. If anything, like getting thicker. I don't know. Like... I grunted, you know what I mean? Not because I saw him. I was covering up the doe scent, or the doe, you know, doe's blowing down there, frankly. So I ripped on that grunt tube, and he came in, you know, so with northeast wind, and he came straight from the north. So he came with like a rear quartering wind. You know, it was just the right spot.
Right.
You know, because I had the pasture to my west. Like, in theory, he could have like jumped down the pasture and taken a really wide loop, but for whatever reason, he didn't. He just felt safe in that woods that we were in. He was pissed off enough to just come see. Looking.
Yep.
And I don't know if that other 3-year-old there or whatever, him being with him, he felt like he had to get to him first or something.
Yeah, almost like they like cut him off.
Yeah, they just came in like
parallel.
A gang. Yeah, they were like, no. So the wind was not necessarily in his favor. In the sense that it was flanking him maybe a little bit, but he, whatever. The 11 was walking straight with the wind at his back by himself, unprompted. I think it was just that was a corridor that he felt super safe in, and it was A to B.
Yeah, and I think that was an under realized corridor there prior to this year at least.
I agree. It wasn't like he was sent checking with the wind. He was just cutting to where he was going, coming out of that thing, going where he was going.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then Kamikaze, that was a southwest wind, and he came from the northwest.
So it was cutting across.
So, maybe they were broadside to the wind kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But he was just following her wherever she was going.
Right. And I think that's where, some of those bucks are they're dulled. Like, not saying that they wouldn't do that in October, but I don't know if they would in October. Like, I don't know if maybe that 11 would have slunk out of that creek with the wind at his back in October. Maybe. If it's the corridor, right? If it's the right corridor, maybe he wouldn't even have been betting there on that win if it wasn't for does.
You just got to, I don't know. They can't be upwind of all things at all times. So you just have to try to,
No, otherwise we never kill them.
You never kill them. You just have to try to understand where they're at and where they're trying to get to. And I mean, that's what makes good spots so good is, they're accessible and they feel like they generally have the wind in their favor. I think.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say if anything in this Kansas one is we approached a lot of our spots with wind in mind, but at the end of the day, it was freaking things could have came from any direction. And they did in some cases. I just had deer surrounding me in different places when I was in them, and I'm like, I don't know what you do different,
dude. The value of dead space is, I think, so under talked about or realized.
Well, I think it's
when it comes to good spots.
I also think it's under identified. You blowing back over a pasture, although there were deer in that. I think people can understand that.
Both cases, Kamikaze and this year.
Yep, blowing over pastures. Yep. We've talked about blowing over cut cornfields. And I think a lot of people will be like, well, no, that's where the deer are going to be. They're going to be in the cut cornfield. And it's at some point.
Cut or standing?
Cut.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess either depending on.
Yeah, either depending. Standing, even better. I think
even better.
Blowing over a standing cornfield, they're not going to be in that as much.
More likely, yeah.
Cut, they will eventually get there. The hope is you're catching them before they get there, right? You're killing them before they get there.
Right.
Or in Illinois, CRP.
Yep.
Which I would say historically we're well, the deer are going to be in there. We can't blow it over the CRP.
It's not perfect. I mean, they
use the edges.
They use
a lot.
I've seen them. They go right through it too. Where it's at now. I see them travel. I see them transition through it. I saw one deer I think was bedded in it. But I saw quite a few other deer. I would say 40-60, if not 50-50, compared to the ones that walk the mowed trail.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if that was more because had gotten boogered and it was more like a quickness thing, or in other cases, just some did, some didn't.
Right.
All of the bucks, all the 3-4-year-olds, except for the 11,
on the trail,
trotted right down that trail.
Yep. Just path of least resistance.
And all the does that were getting followed by bucks, right down the trail.
Yeah.
They were just
path of least resistance.
The path of least resistance.
Yeah. And it was isolated too. They were that 7-foot CRP makes them feel like that trail is fairly secluded back there. Yep. And it is.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, to the point earlier of these deer can't be essentially downwind of everything at any given time. It's it's impossible not to hunt a spot without some sort of sacrifice of dead space behind you. You're always going to have something downwind of you in a spot.
Yeah.
Whether that's a pasture, whether that's hardwoods, whether that's CRP, whether it's cornfield, you are sacrificing something behind you. Every once in a while you get lucky and they slip through and they don't know, but you're putting something behind you that your scent is going to go into. And if they go into that, that's the zone that they get you. Yeah. You just have to minimize that effect. The The dead space should be the least likely place for deer to come through.
Margie and I have been watching the Harry Potter movies lately.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
Harry's going to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, you got to sacrifice something. Well, dude, I
Harry
think
Potter's dead.
I think we've been cranking through them.
Yeah.
Third one or whatever. I think that is a big, like, that's a really big contingency on those really killer spots.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to know. You know what I mean? So, the tin shed gas line has been a staple for us.
Yep, blown back into pasture, right?
The ridge on the 80 where we killed will be a staple for us.
Blown back into pasture.
I think where I killed this buck in Kansas could be a staple for guys in the future, you know, for Roger anyways. And that dead space is such a big component of that. If you can find, it's like not just an area to blow your wind into, but it also provides uninhibited access to a deeper spot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's it. That's all of it. And if you can, especially, so if you can access through that dead space, use it to penetrate into a deep core area, and then use it to blow your wind back over, and then just hunt it smart. Like, dude, you should kill one there every year.
Yeah, that's what kills me on most of my farms is like, I don't have dead space. Like I have to have dead space because like I just said, like you sacrifice something, but like when you're in big timber, they could just come from anywhere and do whatever they want, right? Like, and especially if they are using the wind to their favor. Like,
well, that right there, what you just said is what makes farms hard to hunt. If you don't have a point A and a point B, that's hard to hunt because where are they coming from? Where are they going to? That's the point of property management, I think. Other than just hold deer, it's create travel routes.
Yep. Well, and that's what, when we, and I'll look at it closer, but like when Madison and I just flew the Ohio farm, it's like, I'm just curious to see where these deer are. Like at midday, right? When most of them are on the ground, although we saw some moving, like where are they at? Where are they bedding? And, you know, when you do a full property timber cut, select cut, the benefit is you create a lot of cover and you create a lot of browse. The downfall is you create a lot of cover because besides wind direction and thermals, the deer aren't using any spot necessarily, at least from what we saw.
Well, see, but I think that's okay. Like, I see where you're going with it, but also there's things outside of cover that will cause movement. Water, the water holes.
Yeah.
I think open food sources. I think there's some component.
Like a food plot?
Like a food plot, exactly. Scrapes.
Yep.
Gaps. And natural topography. And I'm missing some, I'm sure. So everywhere can be thick.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine. It may create challenges for, like you said,
well, yeah, they're not going to bed everywhere. Like, I mean, there were places that I'm like, I think they'll bed there, and there were no deer there. Now, it could have been because of the wind direction and stuff. Yeah, who knows? But yes, I see what you're saying there, and that makes sense. You know, and that's the whole point of a food plot or a water hole. Or, I mean, scrapes are popping up all over the place, but you know, at least a food plot and a water hole is you're positioning in a place that you can access on certain winds safely, and expect deer to come from the area that you're not blowing your wind into.
Yeah, you're like, what out of all of this habitat, which is good because it grows, it should promote age class. You know, the more habitat you have, the more holding capacity, the more age class you should be able to have. So now it's like, how do I get these things to 20 yards? Yep. You know, and so Jim's Corner is coming to mind here now, like great access.
What's taking them there besides topography and just the corridor of not much? Water hole. Yes.
Yeah. I think topography, it has an advantage. It's
huge.
It's kind of a classic rut knob. It's super secluded. The water hole, I think, is what takes that from like a 6, like a
over the
very
top.
Healthy 6 to like a 9.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because I mean, I'm not surprised, but like when the veil wasn't lifted, when that veil wasn't lifted on that spot, I'm just like, they're all right there. They all come through there. They're all in there. And then once we sat it and now have a camera in there, I'm like, not there. Like, not nearly as much as I thought. I mean, you know, there is some bucks and does passing through there, but like, not like I thought.
Yeah. Well, and the one, I think there was only one shooter.
Yeah, it would have been the 12, right?
The 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He just wasn't there.
Never saw him.
I'm sure he came through there at some point.
I'm sure.
But not. That's what really killed that deer. I was frankly going to go hunt that spot. It was Brackett that talked to me, and he's like, "Dude, think about where you've seen him. Like,
yeah, we just haven't seen him up there.
He's in this box here, which is not your traditional like. You or I, or even Ben, when I called him, was like, I like that. Big block of timber. That's what you think, And
good chance in October he was using that based on where we saw him coming in north.
For sure. So, and really we used cameras,
in your observation, you saw him the last day, whatever that was, November 3rd.
And I saw him the one time. So over the course of, and there was years prior, there was last year, which definitely was a factor. You know what I mean? If nothing else influenced where our cameras went.
Yep.
And how we sat. But this year, we had pictures of him north, river.
Eventually, Corn Cove Trail.
One in the middle of the night at Pinch.
Yep.
So we're like, and then eventually we got Jim's Corner cam up.
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
None. So we're like, dude, here, like between
this 40-acre box, which a lot of it was CRP.
Yeah. So it had like 2 or 3 overlapping, ditches or whatever. And then the middle one had the best cover. And we'd had experience with like, dude, a bumped big deer out of here before. Like, we haven't quite figured that out. We don't know how to hunt it because it's a
corridor.
It's a corridor. It's a west access farm. So it's challenging to hunt that. There is no dead space behind it. So, but we were able to use the easement and hone in on that.
Which was a far, I don't even think we talked about that. And I realized it like when I would see you on River Cam, but like
it's a long walk.
That's a haul, man.
It's a long walk.
I mean, it's like that's the epitome of I'm going to take the long way around on any west wind to ensure that, if he's that way, I'm not. But you're also sacrificing a lot of stuff behind you.
Sacrifice yourself.
Sacrificing a lot of stuff behind you there.
Yeah.
Just the way that you came in on that
no doubt.
stuff.
It's not a perfect setup. I mean, there were deer that got my wind for sure.
But what do you do? Well, even with that was my worry, was on that west wind and river. If it got any kind of variability in it, that creek is moving from east to west and would pull thermals into where you thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
That was my biggest concern with that river spot. Yeah. I think it was obviously it was the right spot in the end of the day. But like there was a big roll of the dice just because, throughout the day on those all day sits, your wind's going to vary. The thermals are going to vary.
Yeah.
And that creek constantly had water pulling from east to west. And so hypothetically, it should have been like a wind tunnel there. Scent goes back, gets down, pulls, and comes right back to where he was. And maybe it did sometimes. I don't know.
Maybe. I didn't feel it nearly as much as I did the one night that I saw him, like on the first trip. I did feel a distinct thermal shift, and it started pulling through the Corner Cove over
towards him
in that direction, like around.
Yeah, like everything was pulling to the creek.
Half hour before dark. Yeah.
Yep.
I never, of the 2 nights that I sat there, I guess, I didn't notice that for whatever reason. It just the wind. It was windy. Frankly,
I think that's what saved you. Like if that wind would have died down, and in the morning you got a little bit of thermal rise too, which helped a big bit. But in the evenings would have been when it got dicey as it sank and winds died down and it pulled in there.
I gotta say, like, dude, the thermal thing seems like, just because I think it's like guys use it as an excuse to go hunt spots. Thermals will be rising. I don't think so. Like,
what do you mean?
I don't think that like I've just blatantly got away with very much. It has happened. Like, there's a few times where I'm like, oh, my thermal stayed high enough that I think it got over this trail or whatever. But I mean, really, maybe there was 1 or 2 times, and it wasn't always in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm dropping milkweed constantly.
Me too.
There was such a
I had to resupply out in the fields. I was like, okay, take this.
There's such a very few number of times where it actually does that, where So I just don't think you can bank on it. Like you can't just throw the wind.
It should be
out the
axis
window.
and wind first, 100%. Axis wind first. That knob that I sat on in Kansas for those 2 days, and I was hunting an east-northeast wind anyways, but I had those multiple deer downwind of me. Frankly, if I had more room on the property line, I would have pivoted, but they didn't catch me because I was rising thermals.
See, those Kansas deer are not as pressured either.
No?
I think that they put up with a lot more
You think so?
of me, for sure. The deer that I saw, like,
Interesting.
I knew they should be able to smell me. Like,
seems like a fine line, right? Because other people would argue, like, say I'm hunting in Columbus, it's like, well, they smell people all the time. Like, they're not.
Yeah, they smell them, but I think they can they can differentiate where they should be and where they shouldn't be.
Mm.
In Kansas, they smell it, but I don't think they're as familiar. Like they don't associate it as much with a threat,
with a person even.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, I would say where you killed that and where I was hunting, like, I don't know if anybody's been in there, or at least a long time.
Dude, there is also, here's a cool one. They definitely, if you hunt, there's certain areas, if you keep pressure low enough,
Mm-hmm.
they can't piece together that you're in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're blowing your wind right at them, like,
Sure.
yeah, that's not going to work. But like for instance, where I killed this deer, there was, granted they were young deer, so I mean you can make that excuse. But there was a spike that pushed 2 1.5-year-old does down into me, and my wind was just like swirling, like crazy, you know. And they 100%,
they smelled you.
100% could smell me, but they still stood there 15 yards from me for like 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a similar situation in Illinois in that block of timber that we never go into. Like, they smell you 100%. They just can't believe it. They can't fathom that anybody would actually be in there. So they're like, "What is that? Like, how is that in here?"
Yeah.
And
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the benefit of hunting low pressure stuff.
It is. Yeah. Which, you know, if
you're hunting
public land and stuff, like, you ain't getting away with that. They know.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part.
I'd say so.
Yeah, unless it's like remote public type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's we talked about it a lot, really leading up to, because, you know, before Dale saw that buck on Wednesday, like, morale was low in camp.
It was low.
And so we talked about it a lot of, like, you know, there are definitely times we give these deer too much credit. Because we're sitting here analyzing wind, access, this, and it's like, dude, they're just trying to eat, have sex, and survive. That's all it comes down to, right? Some sleep in between.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally all they're thinking about. And so, yes, they're using, you know, from the survivor side of things, they're using the wind to their advantage. But, you know, case in point, Kamikaze, I don't think he was thinking about wind. I don't think he was thinking about food. He was thinking about one thing, and he was watching her. And that just put him to his death, basically.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, even when we try to overanalyze, now, from a survivor standpoint and just behavior standpoint, topography usage, you know, cover edge usage, like position to food, that's all, we analyze that different than they analyze it, but it's still critically important.
Well, dude, topography is that, I mean, and that's correlated with woodsmanship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not like I'm saying 100% that's what did it, but like topography, in a sense, killed all three of those deer.
Mm-hmm.
All three of them.
I would agree.
Because their mindsets were all in different places.
Yep.
Kamikaze was locking down. He was just going to follow her to the ends of the earth.
Yep.
The 11 was done and just ready
Slinking
to go
out
to the next spot, one of the most secure route possible.
Mm-hmm.
And this one here was coming in to investigate, you know, call, but he came down through a piece of topography that dictated how he came.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't going to just come straight out of the cedars or out the middle of the pasture. He was going to come through the gap. He's going to come through the funnel. So reading the topography and then everything else on top of it, right time, right place, is...
Yeah, I mean, they move...
a big deal.
Even in farm country, they use ditches. They use drainages. Bless you. They, you know, that may not be topography to a lot of people, but it's topography in those situations, you know? And so, and it goes to extremes of everything. Like, it's no different than, like, you're out west looking for muleys in a drainage ditch or something. Like, they're using topography to their advantage from a security standpoint. And it also comes with, you know, the use of especially in like what food species and sources, like you think about when in October, when acorns are falling and stuff, like the deer aren't just utilizing, hillsides that are all whatever, maple and walnut and hickory and stuff. It's like there's no acorns there, right? They're going to use the topography, and that topography is going to dictate where the white oaks or red oaks are, and that's what they're going to utilize, and that's where they're going to be.
Well, dude, think about it in the whitetails world. Like, topography might be the one thing that never changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe the second most consistent maybe is thermals.
Yep. But inconsistent and definitely varies day to day.
Topography
and afternoon
never
and
changes. I mean, yeah, you're going to have things happen, man-made stuff or, whatever, river floods or something like that. But 95%
for the most part,
of the time, like the topography never changes. And so you see them use topography in a certain way. You know what I mean? Whether it's like the low spot in an ag field or, I mean, it's very predictable.
Well, we even talked about it, like that last spot my dad sat at. He was like, oh, you and Jared just lectured me on like how they're in the woods and like I should be in the woods. And I was like, well, like what you're failing to realize here is like, even though you're on a field edge, there's a huge hill that sinks it back into the corner by the woods, right? And you have an island of woods that kind of shields you here. So like when those deer approach that field, they're so isolated because of the topography that they're going to be running through there. And he had a buck chasing a doe like 20 minutes after he was in there. And it's because that topography isolates them and it also funneled their movements, right? It's a twofold type of thing to utilize it for. And so it definitely is tough. I mean, even where Harlan and I are going to be hunting tomorrow morning, he's going to kill one this week for sure. I don't know what. Something will die. Yeah, hopefully a deer. But like it's hard because my mountain property, the one I have currently, the entire back of that property is a sandstone cliff with 2 access points in and out of the property.
Give me 2 seconds.
You got pee?
Let me pee real quick.
Okay.
And because I want to dig into that.
Okay.
The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Hoyt.
Should be no surprise to anyone listening to this that back with Hoyt another season. I'm actually going to be shooting the AX2 aluminum this year.
You traitor.
But you're still going RX9.
Yeah, blacked
carbon,
out as always.
Blacked out. Big surprise for
80
everyone.
pounds. Big surprise. Yeah.
But seriously, man, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Every year it seems like we get a new Hoyt bow in our hands, and they're always a step above the last and just a step above everybody else.
Yeah, they're so consistent, man. Just their processes get better, every year. And we've really been excited about, as we've grown with Hoyt, we've brought some others in with us. And we just feel like the Hoyt family is growing, like the community, and we're really excited about the people that are involved, excited to be a part of that company. And it's really awesome.
So for anyone that's excited about Hoyt like Jared and I are, you can use the code HUNTR, HUNTR, on Hoyt.com.
Get serious, get Hoyt.
Yeah, so we're talking about topography. So,
this is the mountain property.
Yeah, so I've got 2 parcels, 75 acres with the original farm, and then basically 100 acres behind it that I had been leasing and I'm purchasing at this point. The 75 up front, which is where we hunt a lot, is the whole back wall of that is a sandstone cliff, except for like 2 ingress-egress points, right? Which basically is how it connects to the property that I leased and own at this point.
They must hate that. Like they don't like it. They don't come in through that in the daylight.
They don't like it because it's a rectangle, right? So essentially, it's very, there's no depth from like the people which are up front, right? And there's no escape because of a sandstone cliff. Like there's just these 2 points.
And they probably know those, those are weak points for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like when I hunt that, like again, I told you 2 days ago, I had 3 shooters on that 75 acres at different points coming by cameras.
Wow. All on the 75.
Yeah, not even chasing does. They were just eating corn.
Wow.
Yeah, just eating corn. And this morning, one of them was there too. And, so like when we hunt that, it's very much, it is a low deer density, but it is a very much feast or famine. Like there could be days this week that we hunt that, we don't see a deer. But like when they're in there, they're in there. And so you just have to understand like the topography aspect of that is like, if they're not in, like, let's say the night before, if I don't get a picture of those deer in the 75 acres, I better set up on one of the ingress-egress points, right? Because that's the only way they're coming in or out of the property.
Do you hunt those ingress-egress points?
I've got spots on both sides of it. Yep.
And do you see mature bucks daylight on those?
Yep.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where two of them were on. One was on this feeder and one was on this feeder on Sunday night.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I was saying. So they will come in and out of the property through those spots in daylight.
Yep. And they'll usually bed high, and then they'll drop in to those pieces.
Well, those seem like probably your two best spots to hunt then, right?
Yeah. And yes, probably. And, now obviously I have access, and I have for the last 3 years, to the 100 acres behind it, which changes the game, and a lot of the same deer back there. And it's got more points. It's got some openings. It's got some fields and stuff that I'm working on. But tying this all into the topography aspect of things, and even going to like a bracket, red paint, blue paint, right? Like I have people in the front where the cabin is, and I've got one big access road on what would be like the northeast side of it, right? And so like those, I've got points coming in from the east, and I got points coming in from the northeast to access stuff. With the way that topography sits, and in particular with the way that the wind just kind of boils through there because there's so much terrain, it makes it really, really tough to just be in a good spot with also a good wind. Mm-hmm. So, fortunately we don't hunt that property a lot. Like, we're just, when we're there, we'll hunt it. But other than that, I'm not there. I'm not on it. Those deer, to your point earlier about like, they're just like, they know what people smell like, but they're really unfamiliar with it. Like I've gotten away with quite a few deer, getting downwind of me and just kind of like, that's weird. Like, why is he in here right now? And then just going on their way. But they always have I almost look at it as like a smiley face. Like they're always using around that sandstone cliff, coming in, going out, or coming in, going out. So if you catch them on one, odds are you're going to catch him on the other because he's making that loop, regardless of wind. Yeah, that's their loop, right? Because once they're in like this coliseum, they essentially have to either go across the road in the cabins, which they don't want to do, or they have to go back out one of the ingress-egress points.
So what is the challenge there? I mean, like, not to like put it that way, but you guys have only killed one deer.
Buck. Yeah,
one deer in multiple years. Mm-hmm. What do you think is preventing you from killing them on that pattern?
Access.
Just
getting in there without bumping them when they're already in there. Like, basically, I need them to be on their way in without already being in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And they will daylight for sure, but...
Well, why on their way in? I mean, what if they're just on the other side?
Well, they have to be wanting to come towards...
Right.
At some point. Like,
and
I don't see...
When did they do that the most?
Morning and evening. Yeah. Like this morning, 8:50, he was on one of the top feeders in an egress point.
Coming off the 120 into the 80?
Yeah.
And then did he go back out?
I don't know. He went back out. He went back the way he came. He didn't drop into the 80.
Okay.
Stayed on the ridge, which I have a hunting spot there.
Yep.
I'll hang on that this week for sure.
Yep.
It's one of my better spots.
Yep.
Easy access from the east, straight in. I'll hang a stand right there. Good spot.
Hang a stand. You don't have a stand in there.
You just have a blind in there for the kids.
Okay.
Because I didn't hunt it. Like I saved it for the kids, so I just didn't hunt it.
Gotcha.
And then, but case in point, like he went back the way he came. He came in, ate, went back the way he came. So like, if we were in the bowl today, right? Probably wouldn't have saw anything.
Right.
Maybe some does or something down in there.
Yep.
But what's very to the patternability of stuff is like, dude, I've tried to match up with winds, and there's just no rhyme or reason when they come in and come out.
Well, let me ask you this. So at this point, and I know maybe after this, where we're at in the season right now is not the best time to ask you, but like how are you enjoying farm country versus like big woods? Like, are you getting more comfortable with it? Are you seeing like...
Yeah. I mean... Yes, I think that the farm country is, I just feel, like even when we were in Kansas, dude, I just felt more natural up in that timber. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to kill one up here. Versus like just being in a ditch and watching like farm country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. part of it I think is just
I felt that way while in that area of Kansas too.
Yeah.
That was a lot of, I don't know if I'd call that quite farm country.
No, it was not. It was more, the last spot I sat when I got up onto the ridge, and I mean, I was up there and it was also miserable weather. But once I got up in there and I hung and I was in a spot where I'm like, could happen tonight, minus the weather. I looked behind me and I imagined, I think I sent a picture to Bill. I imagined looking off of one of Bill's ridges.
One of the ridges.
Because it was just giant hardwoods, and all it was the glow of the cut cornfield in the bottom below me. And and I mean, I'm talking like I was up there. Like I was trying to glass the cornfield, and I'm like, I can't see shit down there as far.
Yeah.
But that's what it felt like. Felt like bluff country.
Bluff country.
Yeah. And I felt way more comfortable there than I would even in our own Illinois farm sometimes, dude. Like just the way that it sets up. Like I feel like I have to tiptoe on our Illinois farm. You do. And I'm just not used to that.
Yeah.
Like not that I'm a bull in the china shop going through, but I'm just like, I don't.
You got to be way more careful in farm country from an access standpoint.
And that's probably, all of my other hunting, Ohio, Kentucky, even in Pennsylvania, dude, it's like, I have to cover some serious ground from an access standpoint.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about...
That's a major difference.
I'm not worried about what happens between then and where I go. Like, I approach the stand cautiously.
Farm country, you step foot past the gate and you're like, we're in it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just, meanwhile, like even there, I'm 3 benches up and I'm like, I got one more to go, and I'm just not even thinking I'm in the game. Like, sure, deer are coming through there and stuff, but like that's where I need to be.
Yeah.
Which is the normal mindset anywhere. Like even though it's not that far from some of these gravel driveways and stuff like that, like when I finally get into a spot in Kentucky, like even behind the cabin, if you look where I'm at, you're like, dude, you're in the middle of nowhere. There's hundreds of thousands of acres of timber this way. There's tens of thousands of acres timber this way. And like, you're here, and it's just, it is to a point like a deer could come from anywhere. They definitely have their movement patterns based on the terrain and or wind. But like even this morning, I'm like, I would have probably killed that buck. I think it was like 850. He came up there, but he came from like the one side of the 100 up to the top and like just kind of probably skirted the ridge and then went right back down in. And it's like, I'd have to check the wind, but I think it was a southeast. He probably would have, he would have definitely been downwind of me, and so it's like, is that why he used that pathway today? A couple nights ago, I would have absolutely killed him. He was in the bowl.
I bet it was.
He came up out of the bowl. I would have been on the ridge. He was dead to rights, like no doubt in my mind. At least I would have shot him at him with a recurve. But yeah, it's just hard to think about how those deer want to move mainly because of the access they have, right? They literally have 2 points of access into that property. And so, those big bucks just don't like, they're claustrophobic to a point.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to be in there and like, holy shit, look at this giant rig. Like I can't get out anywhere. Like that, I don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked if they use it in daylight.
They do a lot.
Wouldn't imagine they would like that.
I think they actually feel secure in it.
They do,
because I think that just, again, it's kind of thick. It's a big bull around there, but like, yeah, I mean, I would say that I get just as much daylight activity as I do night activity in there.
Interesting.
But it's because they're covering so much ground. I mean, the deer that I had there this morning, I had 3/4 of a mile away 2 days ago. Like they're just covering so much ground that it's like, what's the rhyme or reason he's coming there? I don't know.
It literally is like you're so close to, like, not you, but just the difference between getting them things killed, one, let alone multiple, versus not. And in heights, I feel like you had a crappy season. It's the smallest detail mixed with like a little bit of luck.
Yeah, it's tight. Yeah, because I like this season I haven't. Like in past, it's like, when I've tripped, like I've been on the deer, like I'm like, ooh, just missed them, or I'm close, or I saw them, now I got to make a move. Like those are the ones where I'm like, I'm in the game, like I'm on them. Not that I ever felt like I wasn't completely out of the game, but there were very few moments throughout this entire season that I was like, I'm in the game. If anything, it was the elk hunt was like, I'm in the game on that. You know, in October, I ran that race, which laid me up, but like not much, you know. Even when I went and hunted Ohio, I was like, man, I'm going to kill this deer. Like, I don't even know if he was within 1,000 acres of me.
Well, and who knows, dude? I mean, like, you know, maybe you just missed him by that much.
Probably.
Like, you know, where I saw the 11 in Corn Cove,
yep,
you had just hunted 3 days.
3 days. Yeah.
And
didn't see a deer over 2 years old.
And we just happened to get a picture of him that night.
And
had we not found that same spot, who knows? You might have gone back there.
Sure, I probably would have.
You think so?
Well, just because there weren't many options for the wind. We had a really weird wind that night. So it was like...
Well, no, it was northwest, west-northwest.
West-northwest.
That's what it was. But we had found this other spot that we both felt was like, dude, this is the spot.
Yeah.
And we hadn't seen the 11. We're like, if you're going to see him anywhere, it's probably here.
He's in this block. He's going to be here. That's the thought. That was the thought process.
And I had just killed Kamikaze 2-3 days before, so you were up. I was like, dude, it's your spot.
Yep.
And so you went there, and just because of the wind, and at some point there overnight, we did get a picture of him there.
Right that morning when we were going in. It's like 4:30.
4:30, like it was early, 4 something.
It's like 2 hours before we hunted in the morning, which you weren't even.
I didn't hunt there. I hunted. Where did I was taking care of my deer.
In the morning?
Yeah. I think the whole next day and the following morning I didn't hunt.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The whole next day and the following morning I didn't hunt.
Yep. Yeah, because you dropped me off. Oh, did you hunt honey hole that morning? I think you did. I think you hunted honey hole that morning. Because you dropped me off in the tractor and then you went back and sat. I think you were in honey hole that morning.
Maybe I did.
And then came out. We both came out.
Okay.
And then we were like, I don't know, what do we do? And
I think you're right about that.
Yeah,
I think you're right about that.
I went back in, and you went into Corn Cove then.
Yep. So you went back to that spot because we still felt like that was a great spot. But now we had a picture of him. It's just in the CRP field right below it. You know, the two stands are only 400 yards apart.
Yeah. I mean, it easily could have thought he was just making a loop to go back up into the block of timber.
Definitely. So I don't know, just based on that wind and on that, truthfully on that picture, I was like, that's the closest spot to it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because we weren't even considering river at that point. We haven't really hunted that stand at all. Yeah.
Because there's some weaknesses with the wind.
Yep.
You know, and it's tough access. So unless you feel confident about something, it's like, there's better spots to. So I hunted that night and just happened to see him.
Yep, got right up out of that same thing and
I just wasn't there the 2-3 days before when you were hunting him. Probably just wasn't there. You missed him by that much. And then I just happened to sit that stand that night and happened to see him. And that was enough to like...
Yeah. That was a huge puzzle piece.
Huge puzzle piece. I was like, there he was. Like, freaking... There he is.
Living in there.
Right there in this ditch. So then my entire... You know, and then we had to leave the next day.
And we got him on Corn Cove Trail that night.
A couple times after dark. And we're like, oh. Okay.
He's like,
and
right there.
And that was a new camera that we had just put up. So we're like, okay, that seems like the southern perimeter of his range there. So then...
So small, though. Like, his core area was so small.
Yeah. So then we were piecing it together. And, I mean, that was a lot of fun, stressful in a way. But I'm like, you know, you and I are talking about it. I called Ben. I called Skip. I called a couple other people. I'm like, here's what I know. Like, Bracken and I talked. Here's what we know.
Because we didn't get any pictures of him when you were out there, right?
No.
Nothing. I don't think so.
No, not a single picture. The last picture we'd gotten of him was...
That Corn Cove Trail, probably. Or River. We got him on River. But it was like...
One of the two.
The 5th or 6th or something like that?
Yeah, it was like...
A week before?
It was like...
5 days?
3 days before I went back out?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Because we thought he was locked down.
Yeah, so prior to me heading out. Yeah, and which I thought would be timed perfect. I'm like, he's going to come off here at some point. It was longer than I anticipated. But, what kind of like trajectory was I on there? I'm not just like telling the story of the 11 again, but
no. I think just like the short misses there, basically.
The short misses, like how close it can be. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, There is luck. Definitely, there is some luck.
Yeah, but you're right. There is some pattern ability there for sure, or at least, the understanding that he's in there. It's a matter of time more than anything.
Where did you hunt the night that I hung for Kamikaze?
Corn Cove.
Yep.
And I sat there the next morning too. When you killed him. I was just climbing down when you killed him.
And I think at the time, because you and I have kind of an unspoken, sometimes it's spoken, but unspoken, like we jockey for the better spot, like priority.
Sure.
And
I had already hunted the 80 on a different wind on the north side.
Well, and we didn't necessarily think the 80 was like, we thought the Corn Cove was the spot. We're like, hey, dude, 11.
At some point, he's going to come through here.
At that time, we thought 11's the biggest buck we got, and the Corn Cove is probably the best place to see him. Because last year,
and he was probably the least likely to kill, right? Like Kamikaze and the 10 seemed more reasonable. And then obviously that heavy deer we didn't know about until we got the 80. But like those 3 deer probably seemed more killable than he was.
Yeah.
Just because
regardless,
of sightings.
he was the biggest deer, and that was our best shot at him. So yeah, you were sitting there.
Minus north, which we just didn't have the wind for. At least we thought.
Yeah. So, and dude, I promise, I'm not like, I know something you don't like. It's just the way it happened,
Well, I mean, dude, I've told you before, like I think you're a good rut hunter because you'll sit that same spot 4 days in a row all day, knowing on day 4 you feel just as confident as you do on day 1.
Well, and hopefully you can too.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
It's a grind.
I don't think that. Like, it's just not in my, and that's the October in me. Like,
well, you know what you got to get out of your head is like, unlike a lot of what we say a lot, which is that they're in there, they know you're in there every time. In November, that's not necessarily true. Like some of the deer will pick up on you. That's why you still got to hunt smart. But like, I really feel like during the rut, if you're in the right spot and you haven't seen him yet, it's because he's not there. He hasn't come through.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, versus October, you haven't seen him. He's in there. You just haven't seen him.
That's right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Which is why most of the time in October, I'm like, man, first sit, I need to make it count because that's when I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, and I'm not good enough of a hunter to do that. Like I've missed it so many times, and that's why I've killed so few deer in October. Yeah, I need the forgiveness, and fortunately, I've got the willpower to sit them out. And
yeah, which is, I mean, that's it, man. That's what it takes to get them killed for sure.
This last one was kind of like an October strategy.
Absolutely,
it was a push in. It was the right spot the first time.
Process. And honestly, we joke about it, but like it was a Hail Mary because it's like, I would say, I mean, the weather conditions to get in there were great, but the weather conditions for the day sucked.
Yeah.
So it's like, in hindsight, if we were there for 3 more days and that front moved through and it got better the next day, would you went in there and killed them, or would you have waited till the next day? I don't know.
I don't know either.
But we didn't have a choice. It was like, it's the last day. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it.
I think it's really interesting to track the trajectory of each one of those, hunts that ended in a kill. It's interesting to like. I mean, this one especially was like a very clear over a course of 5 days with zero prior intel. Where were you on a map and why? And then, you eventually ended up killing them here. And it's not like every one led to the next necessarily.
No, but it was a piece of information to be like, okay, they're not here.
Yeah, that's really what it was. Especially, it was really like, okay, not here.
Not here.
But also, I'm just like, is that just because they weren't here today? Or is that because so we had so little to go on? So it was just like just move and learn and then go, circle back once and then.
And we should say, like, the weather the entire week was not great.
Yeah.
So it's not like we had fronts hit and like we didn't see deer. Like the weather in the entire week was not good.
It was not good.
Which very well could have had, like, we could have seen deer in some of these spots, but because of the weather, we didn't.
Yeah, and the stage of the rut. Both.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's all three. It was weather, stage of the rut, and deer population expectations. That's what it was.
Yep.
And then, I guess, whatever, two of the three or whatever lined up. And just, I don't know, dude. It's just like eventually you were in the right spot and it happened to be the right day. He happened to be off a doe that time. I happened to rip on that grunt roar. Who knows? If that deer probably would not have come down there had I not grunted. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, he was doing the terrain thing, so possibly. He was on his feet because they had a picture of him. You didn't know it, but they had a picture of him at 10 a.m. not far. I mean, several hundred yards.
Yeah. He definitely would. From a terrain standpoint, he definitely had come through there before and would again. But would he have that time or that day? I don't know.
Yeah, it was wild to think about it in hindsight. But you're right. I mean, Dale was a quarter turn away from letting one loose on a big one.
That's what I mean, dude. That close.
Yeah. Yeah, in theory, I mean, any hunter would hindsight that back. Like, he's like, I could have shot that deer. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows how it would have ended. I've told him I was reflecting on, because
on yours.
Minus the hole that he had to shoot through, which sounded like it was bigger than, but who knows. I told him, I was like, dude, I don't think I would have taken that shot.
Did I tell you what Bomar said on the truck on the way home? He goes, he's like, come on, man, should have taken that shot. He goes, arrows in the quiver, do not deliver. There's a Bomar quote for you.
We saw that with Sarah's shot here recently. Yeah.
Arrows in the quiver.
I
do
told
not
him,
deliver.
I was like, dude, it's only been a few years, and like, it's not like I matured as a bow hunter. I was like, I don't know if I'd have the balls to take the shot that I took on that Illinois deer again, but I did, and I killed it, and so, yeah, it's easy to reflect back and be like, should have sent it, right? Like, I looked at mine, and I'm like, maybe if I wasn't so focused on like what his next move was, like, could I have found a 3-inch hole at 15 yards through those leaves to just send it into his cavity? Maybe. But I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even really know how big he was. I just know I was like, it's a big frame deer, and like, he looks mature.
He was big frame. I can see it in that video. It's brief.
But, but it's like, so it's like, it's a couple steps either way, and there's 3 arrows being sent out of 5 people.
I think the same thing about that North Dakota buck this year. He was at 50 yards, kind of like last light. I'm like, could I have, like,
maybe?
I'm like, I can make a 50-yard shot, but
yeah. So it's that's usually what saves some of these big deer, is, for better or worse, it's hesitation
with a compound, because
it just happens. Oh yeah, crossbow.
Crossbow.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah,
right in the head. But yeah, it's hesitation, and it's and I would say most bow hunters would. It may eat them up, but they're happy that they don't take a shot that they had to second guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it leaves it open-ended.
It leaves it open-ended. It eats at you, but it eats at you a lot less than making a piss-poor shot on them and wounding them or something.
Well, and yeah, that's what you got to remember, is like, we've all been on those or had years where there was like just the worst blood trail of your life. It's like I spent 3 days or an unknown amount of time wondering if a deer lived or not, and maybe you never even found out. Like, who knows?
Yeah, and they're not good, and so yeah, it really is. They made a movie about it, right? Game of Inches. That's like what it is in November. It's literally that close, that many times that you could go from killing maybe not 3, but killing a big buck or 2 or 3 to not killing anything, and so yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to, and for most people, I think it's hard because November has so much hype, but I would say that it's not easy to hunt.
It's a grind.
Yeah, it's not an easy month to hunt. Like, it is the peak whitetail rut and everything that revolves around it, but it never does what's in your mind.
No.
Which is like, this dude's just chasing a doe and he pushes her right under the stand and it's like 15 yards, flap, double lung. Like, it doesn't happen like that a lot.
Dude, just...
And not to interrupt you.
You're fine.
But specifically talking about, and this is not a knock on anyone, but mature deer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say like it's easy, because people hunt high pressured situations or public land and stuff. But like, if you're talking about going out and killing 3-year-olds and stuff, the rut is the rut, right? Like, there's a good chance that that 3-year-old's going to push in and nudge does.
They're going to be up and cruising.
They're going to be cruising. They're going to be doing the thing. Like, and those are still super exciting, man. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's awesome. Like, Carter's was probably a 2-year-old buck. And so to see him like rubbing and scraping and doing that stuff, it's like, those deer will do that. If you're trying to kill those deer in November, you will have the whitetail rut experience.
Got more opportunities.
But if you're trying to kill these deer in November,
They're a different beast.
Just a completely different thing.
It's really hard.
It's a feast or famine
to wrap your mind around until you've encountered, I don't know. Like I'm still, everyone that I see, it's like a new piece of the puzzle is you're like, look how that thing did that. Like it's totally different from what almost all of the other deer did in most situations.
Yeah, and it was done with purpose.
It was done with purpose. And in a way, it's like I can relate to them like as, I don't know, a dude. And in some cases, a dom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If there's ever a situation where you're the dominant, like you can understand that mindset and you relate it to.
But dude, that's what I'm saying. Like even with, not to harp on like the east winds, but it's like, I don't know. If I go to a restaurant, I sit facing the door. Mm-hmm. I don't
just out of instinct.
I don't. Natural. My back is not to the door. So like, let's just say I don't know. The restaurant's like, oh, this isn't the main entrance anymore. It's over here, and my back's to it. I'm like,
let's shift around here.
What? Like, no, I don't like that. Like that doesn't sit.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Like they're doing and thinking the same thing, and so yeah, it's done with purpose. We definitely give them too much credit.
Yeah,
they don't have the brain cells to be thinking on the level of all of us piecing these puzzles together.
No.
Theirs is more natural, instinctive of why they do those things.
Yeah,
but they are doing them for a reason and with a purpose. And so, can you turn that into a November pattern to kill them? Sure. Is there luck involved? Absolutely. Can't kill him if he's not there. That's the biggest one.
You also can't kill him if you're not there.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Which is probably...
You both have to be there.
That's probably the reason you're sitting here with 3 tags, Punch, is like you were there in those seats.
You just think about the rarity of like just a deer like this to begin with, or any mature buck, and then to see them, encounter them, like even, just whatever, a handful of times in your life is weird. To create scenarios where you intersect with them in the wild one or multiple times in a year is like pretty cool to think about.
Yeah,
that's just that's the satisfaction you're getting out of it. Is just like I'm figuring out how to create these scenarios or just be in the right time in the right place.
Well, but that's where he's moving with purpose and you're hunting with purpose, and that's the colliding point. And it doesn't happen. You could be hunting with purpose and he'd be moving with purpose, and you're still miles apart.
Well, and I can't take too much credit because it's like sometimes you don't know. You haven't understood the purpose of, you're like,
right,
this is just the best I can do with the intel I have. And then it works. And then you're like, yeah, I was hunting with a purpose, but
yeah, with
each one, you've got a little bit more understanding of the purpose. You're like, well, I've seen this before.
Yeah. Well, I would say of the 3, and again, first spot in there, but like that, you didn't expect to shoot the 11 where you shot him, right? You didn't expect him to walk on that trail, did you? Did you?
It was one of the trails that I would.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. I would have not thought of that at all. I would have thought he would either have crossed the creek. I would have for sure thought the trail in front of you.
It wasn't it wasn't the primary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought more than likely he would be walking up or down. I didn't think he would just run the runway.
Yeah.
I figured he'd come from one or the other. Mm-hmm. And so either my second or third option was he could come from back here.
Yeah. Because unlike Kamikaze, although you didn't shoot him exactly, like he used the knob.
Not in the way that I had thought or hoped. It's just some luck involved there.
But he used that spot was with purpose. He used that spot with purpose. Mm-hmm. There was an intersecting point there. Mm-hmm. And then this one, we don't know what he was doing because we didn't have intel, but like he did what he did, and that was with purpose that you were there in the funnel.
Yeah, from a hang and bang standpoint, I'm probably the proudest of this one.
Yeah,
I would
say.
So. I hung for Kamikaze too. That'll end up being a permanent set for sure.
Yeah, we already talked about
and this one could also. But it just works so perfectly.
It's a challenging access spot.
And do you know why I think I'm more proud of it? Is it was not as black and white as Kamikaze Ridge.
Yeah, it's like, here's the ridge. He's going to come on it. There's edges here.
There was nowhere else to go.
Yeah, he didn't have anywhere else to go.
He's going to be between this block of brush and this pasture. I'm in the funnel. This one here, I navigated through across a pretty big flat with a lot of sign on it to finally get to the point that happened to be the X.
The X.
And so, and that it took a lot.
You said a younger you would have sat on that flat probably.
Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, you get up on the ridge and all of a sudden you see way more sign than you've seen all week. And there's a ridge and a fence line that comes down and meets it. It's like the human eye sees a funnel there.
Yep.
A shape. I'm like, they probably crossed the fence down, and they probably do at some point. But that's the difference between just deer movement and
purposeful mature
buck movement. I'm like, and I need to get to more spot where he's more likely to come through in daylight. Even the spot I hunted the night before was not it.
Yeah, you're still out of it.
Yeah, the spot before I was like, it was a great funnel. It was like a bottom. It was like, sandwiched between the bottom of a hogback and an ag field. And you just have to like, can I visualize a mature buck coming through here in daylight? There's obviously scrapes, and there's a mature buck bed right here that I can envision him scent checking does as they came down through this ag field. I'm like, I just can't see it happening right now. Right. I said, I think he just feels more secure in the timber. And so that's this. So, I mean, dude, that's going to be hard to top for me in terms of reading the spot and executing just like that. It doesn't happen that often.
Didn't kill him with a camera either.
What do you mean?
I would say that most deer you say you kill because of a cell camera picture.
That's fair. I had very little intel on that deer. None. I knew he existed. Yeah. I didn't even know he's on that farm though.
Yeah. Yeah. We did. We did at 10 when you were already in.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we were like, oh, yep, he's up there 300 yards away, or was up there 300 yards away.
Well, it was as we were leaving, I think, because I remember hearing Roger say to somebody, to Andrew maybe, here's that 8 was over so-and-so.
Yep.
I didn't know it was that deer.
Yeah.
And I didn't know exactly. I think I did know it was at the.
It was at the homestead.
I knew it was at the homestead.
That's where your dad was going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had no idea it was that deer.
Yeah. So I mean, you would one that self-proclaim that like most of the deer I kill are due to cell camera intel.
Definitely.
And that was not
the first one in a long time.
Yeah.
That's not been a fairly direct result. Both the 11 and Kamikaze we had pictures of within a week's time.
Yeah.
This one, or years prior.
It honed in on it. Yeah.
Yeah. This one, no. Just purely a spot. It's purely a spot.
Which it seems to be like, we talked ourselves through it on this podcast, like, and I hope people listening to understand is like, November is just as much about a spot as anything.
Yeah. Well, and dude, we were figuring it out too. I mean, I really think if you'd given at least you and I, because you and I have the ability to go in. If you'd give us another week, like, I'm pretty confident you would have killed one too.
There's a chance I could have killed one on Friday. I just couldn't get to that spot because of the way that creek ditch was.
I know.
Like, it would have been, there's no way I would have got up the other side. I would have needed a freaking rope to mountain climb it.
We were neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we were helping it. It's not like we were competing, but we were
on
together.
Far separate farms.
We were neck and neck with figuring it out. We're like, I said it 5 times. You know what I mean? I'm like, Jeremy's in the timber. Jeremy's seeing deer.
Yeah.
Deer are in the timber.
Yeah. I told my dad, I was like, the weather sucked, but the downfall of like leaving the next day was like, even though they weren't prime, there were 2 or 3 like decent days right after that where I'm like, I've got these suckers like figured out. Now, the hardest part for me, and not so much from like a camera pattern ability standpoint, was like the spot I was hunting had no cameras on the entire side of the road, which was hundreds of acres. Like the risk of rolling the dice was like, there's a deer that I'll even shoot in there. Now I saw him on Thursday. I'm like, I would kill that deer. But like before that, leading up to it, whatever, I'm like, there's not even, and that's the toughest part about when you're on a time clock. It's like, man, there were for sure times, even though I felt the spot was good, that I'm like, if I'm hunting a ghost, I just burn this entire trip. Right? Because I'm like,
it's hard. It's hard to not know.
I figured it out. I figured out this is where I need to be if he's there. And so there was a point until 2:50 on Thursday afternoon where I'm like, Rendell and I were texting at like noon because he's like, I haven't seen a deer in like 3 days or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I've seen some. And I was like, actually, I'm watching a 1-year-old walk right to me right now. That's the one that hit my shit pile on almost fell on his face.
Yeah.
And, but until 2:50 that afternoon when I turned around, at that point, there were multiple times where I'm like, I'm in the spot, but is he in the spot?
All right. So would you rather, or, which is worse?
Yeah.
Is it to not know anything about the property or what deer are there other than what you can see from a map and not be seeing him, or to know everything, to have walked every square inch of the farm and to have lots of pictures and to not be seeing him? Which is worse?
I mean, knowing you're in the game means a lot, right? Which would be the latter there. Like, I know the property, and specifically, I know he's been there. Therefore, I'm in the game. I might not see him, but I'm in the game. There was for sure an excitement of not knowing anything. Knowing that, like, I could turn around, there could be a 220 that comes through there.
Agreed.
Because I'm in the... Now, would I say that in Pennsylvania? No. Because
I'm in Kansas.
I'm in Kansas.
Who knows?
Though, right? So there was an excitement of going up on that top. There wasn't a ton of buck sign. Like, it wasn't like what you said. Like, you're like, man, I'm in the deers. It wasn't like that. It just... everything about it, and particularly even the property that we didn't have access to, the south, like, it framed itself up to be like, they want to be here. Now, what I told Roger is I was probably a week or two late. Like, if I was in more of that season and where they were like really cruising and getting, boy, I bet that spot was on fire. Like, I was just a little too late to where, like, I think they were looking for the last deer, but they also were kind of like just browsing and like starting to put their feed bags back on. So in theory, like, I was excited about that spot. Even the last spot Roger put me, like, in that rainy evening, when I got up to that top, that did have all the sign. That checked all the boxes, had the sign, had the scrape, had the feeling. It's just, I had 2 hours in the rain to hunt it.
Yeah.
But that was one where I kept looking to my left thinking, any second he could be there. I don't know what he is. Right?
That's what I mean in terms of we were figuring it out. I firmly believe that had you continued to sit either one of those last two spots you were in, it's just a matter of time.
If there was a big buck there, I would have had another close encounter. Whether I would have killed him or not, I don't know.
The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Mountain Tough.
Man, as everybody knows, physical fitness is super important to both you and I, Jared. And so whether it's training for the Badlands so that we can pack out a muley or our weekly whitetail hunts, the thing that we don't want is to be a big piece of shit in the woods this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dude, even just in our daily lives, whether we're planting food plots, running our businesses, spending time with our family, we just want to feel good. And that all starts with physical fitness.
Yep. So this year we're partnering with the Mountain Tough app, cool new app that you can go in. You can do rucking, you can do weighted vests, you can do minimal gear. But basically the app has both coached and self-guided courses, anything and everything you need to be mentally and physically tough for this hunting season.
And so right now you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, on the Mountain Tough website. That's mtntough.com. It does have to be the website. It can't be either of the app stores to get that discount applied. You get a free 2-week trial anyway, so anybody can go on and use that. But while you're signing up, use that code HUNTR. You'll get an additional 3 months after that trial period to use the app. That's a total of 6 weeks. That's a huge savings.
So this season, get Mountain Tough. Okay, we're talking about my spot. Yeah, so much like you were saying about how I stood there on Wednesday afternoon for, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, something like that. Just like knowing where I had put on the map close to the property line and then like what was available for trees. And there was one tree, probably a walnut or something. And I'm like, this seems right because of the way it fell off of that knob with the winds that I was going to be hunting. But I was going to give up more ground to the property line and more so, I thought I was going to have more visibility into the property to the south, not from like I'm going to shoot him standpoint, but from like just seeing movement and calling and whatnot. And so in the tree I ended up picking was awesome. Like, it was a bur oak tree, got up, had like a big V in it. Like, it felt great, like where you were sitting, like in that notch. So if I could have moved the tree, yes. But the tree that I was thinking about shooting out or sitting in, I probably would have killed that deer out of, because he came from the west up along the property line and hung up in that thicket. And that tree was about 30 yards behind me on an angle. I would have probably been able to, and I don't know how thick it was looking down in there, but I bet I would have shot him.
Man, that's, we keep coming back to that game of inches. Like, it is that close. And I feel that pressure when I'm hanging a stand.
Oh, that's, if anything's by purpose, it's when you hang a stand, you hang it with purpose of like in commitment too. Like, not that you can't rip down and move, but like, you know, when you roll that dice and you get in a tree, like you're doing it with the thought process that this is the best tree for the setup that I'm in.
Honestly, dude, it can be really challenging. Like this buck here, I'd be lying if not half an hour, if that, before he came through, I was considering a move.
Yeah. Because once you get up there, then you're like, okay, now this is what I got.
And it really was because of like brush, you know, it was because there was an Osage tree that was like blocking a portion of my shots, and I'm like, I can squeeze it through here and there, but like, is that the main trail? Like, once you're up, you start to see, dude, I couldn't even hardly see that pasture there. Until I get up in the air, I'm like, oh, there it is. I have some perspective on it, and I mean, thankfully I didn't. And
well, but to your point earlier too, like every deer, including the 3-year-olds, did the thing from the spot I was in. I could killed every one of them. Every deer that I saw, maybe except for one who was on the other side of the line and never came over. Every other deer I saw, dead, including multiple that came from that buck's direction underneath 4 yards dead, like not into like too close for comfort type stuff. He was the only one out of every deer I saw on that top that hung up, and then just was like, I don't think so. I'm going to go back down this way. That's it. Every other deer read the script, did the thing, you know, and the only other thing I would say about our trip, and we wrap it up, but is obviously you killed that buck via probably a blind call and him processing everything else that he heard. The only other deer that reacted to calls for me was a 1-year-old 4-point. The 3-year-olds, that buck, like as they're doing things that normally I'm like, okay, he's easing off. He's not real sure. He didn't smell anything. He didn't see anything. If I gave him that, you know, he looks, you know, and it's close enough to him and the wind is favorable that I'm like, boy, he wants to come up and just look at this knob just to check. He didn't want anything to do with it. Not that he like boogered, but he was just like, I don't need to go look. I sat there for 27 minutes and checked this whole top. There's nothing up there that's making me feel like I got to go up there and look. And so
you're saying that about
time of year, I guess, maybe?
Well, no, I think it's situational.
Situational? I mean, but even the 3-year-olds, dude, like none of the 3-year-olds even gave a shit. Or
I called in a 3 and I think a 4-year-old. I think that 7-point was a 4-year-old.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe I rattled in that 4-year-old 150. That was early in the week. It was first morning, I think, or second morning. I had that buck come down and work around me, and maybe I rattled in. Coincidentally, he came in 5-7 minutes later. I don't know.
Maybe I also rattled in that 11-point. I rattled twice in the morning, and he definitely heard me.
For sure heard.
And then it was maybe at least an hour later, he comes slinking out of there.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not like you see in the movies, like that you're going to rattle and like, oh, there he is. Like sometimes that happens. Normally it's a 3-year-old or whatever, 2-year-old that comes in. But yeah, I don't know. And so they didn't. I thought for sure, even when he was walking away, when he turned and walked away, there was no panic. Because I'm like, I'm going to just let him get 30 yards. Wind is safe. And I'm going to, and if he doesn't, I'm going to hit him harder. And he's going to come check this out. Like, there's nothing else going on. He came up here with purpose, and he just didn't, you know? And so I was surprised at that. Not that I had any shots at him further, or the only thing that I would have, like, said, well, what would you have done different is after him sitting there for 10, 15 minutes, like maybe I could have got around the tree and just while he was there enough that it pulled him through versus letting him leave.
Yeah.
But he was so close, and every other deer did the thing that you got to make a choice. And, you know, was it the wrong choice? I mean, I don't know.
Who knows? Could have done.
I don't know.
Could have boogered and
He could have looked right up at me and been like, "Whoa."
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've definitely gotten, I think, more confident in calling with them nearby. And maybe I give too much credit, but like the predator has something to do with that. Like me just feeling like they can't see me. It's the same component of like when they smell you in the deep timber and they're like
nobody's back
here. It's almost like they can't believe that they could like see you or being look right at you and you would continue to call at them.
Yeah. Dude, the weirdest one was that bobcat walking in on me. Like that thing went death mode the whole way in. And when it was coming like 2 yards, it just like did this. And like I'm 15 feet above it, if that. It would, and I'm like, we're like making direct eye contact. And I'm like, you see me, right? And like,
I've had similar experience with bobcats.
That's nuts.
I think they're just, I don't know. They're weird. Like,
you talk about move with purpose, dude. When I squealed at that thing and it went from like I'm just walking to like hunt mode, like as it was putting its paw, like feeling for sticks and then like slowly putting weight, and no sound.
Yeah,
like it was crazy.
Stupid cats. They think they're so stealthy.
Crazy. Oh yeah. I was like, I don't know what the legality is, but this thing would be dead.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just cool. Like those are the things that you just, that hunt for sure, like successful for you, unsuccessful for the other 4 guys. Every one of us left there knowing more about how to hunt whitetail deer and mature bucks.
I think so.
Which is crazy because I'm like, man, we do it a lot. And like, I'm not saying we don't know everything. By far do we not know everything. But like you came out of there and like, yeah, when I was leaving there, I'm like 3 more days. And I think, I don't know if I'd kill one, but I would for sure be on one, like again.
Yeah.
And, that, if anything, to the point of like, would you rather know or not know? In those situations, I'd rather not know because I left there thinking that if I had 2 or 3 more days, I would have did it. Who knows? Right. But the unknowing of the property and the having to learn it, like it's a cool experience. And, in a lot of those situations, it's frustrating when he's there and you're not seeing him. Whereas like those kind of exciting time frames where like, shit, man, there couldn't have been a shooter within 500, acres of me. But every time I sat, I'm like, he could be right there. It could happen, That's the old school mentality of it.
Yep.
So anyways, that's in a nutshell. November's about the spot. It's about the time and ass and seat. And yeah, I mean, I think that's it. And, now tailing off, like our minds as well as their minds have to start flipping to food because that's where it's all going to come down. It's all going to boil down. There's guys that build their entire farm for the next 6 weeks of the season.
Yep.
So, whether that's new bucks showing up, whether that's bucks that you haven't seen in a while coming back and finally getting hungry, or whether it's bucks you have on there finally saying, okay, enough of the does. I'm gonna eat here for a bit and try to get this body in shape. We got a blast of winter coming, which is gonna make them feel that. So yeah, should be good.
Yeah, if you've done the work or whatever the situation is, there it's like it can be the best time of the whole year. You know what I mean, it's like they just like us. They're rut worn. Their guard is kind of down at this point, and they have to come to food.
They're hungry.
So if you have a huntable situation, on a property that has a good food source and a good, winter bedding or, thermal cover, whatever it is, then if you hunt it smart, yeah, I mean, you should have some good opportunities still ahead of you.
Yep. Yeah. I think it's again, the food is critical. If you're in big timber, like I've got a few big timber ones, if you can't bait, then it gets really tough. Like unfortunately I talk about my Pennsylvania property and it's like, maybe gun season. We still have a few trickle in there to the winter rye, but boy, that property gets exponentially more barren, as we get later in the season. And the Kentucky farms kind of hold their own because I can bait on one of them and the other one's got food. And Ohio is holding its own because of browse and I just put a bunch of corn down. So like they're there, and I'll probably make an approach on that 7 or 8 year old in Ohio. Madison and I were laughing. While we were watching him on the drone, I was like, hey, he's like, man, that's a good deer. I was like, dude, that's what he looked like in July of 2022. And he's like, what? I mean, looks the same. 4 years ago, looks the exact same that he looks now. And it's like, I don't know how old that deer is, 7, 8, who knows? And so, so we'll try to jump back on him at some point. He's one that he'll get, regimental on something, whether it's a corn pow or whatever, but, try to put my dad on him and kill him. But yeah, man, that's it. It's, speaking of food, I'm hungry as well.
Go get something.
Yeah, let's get something. And anyways, we appreciate everyone listening to episode 290 of HUNTR Podcast. Couple more here, and we'll be at the old 3 hundo. And appreciate everybody listening. Hope you guys had a successful November, and we're on to December in the late season. We'll catch you next week.
Later.
Take me